Right, I'm off.
Best of luck, love.
Look, I don't need luck. She's just going to slap my wrist, is she? If that, when I turn on the old charm. She's a woman, Bet. She's susceptible. I've not known many who aren't.
I think you're behind the times, Billy. Sarah Ridley's a boss. She'll likely behave like one. Even more so to prove a point to a male like yourself.
And if she's a chip off the... Come on, she's a chip off the old block. She'll not like one of her pubs being done for drinking after time, either.
I haven't been done yet, have I? No news from the cops is good news. I tell you what, Bet, I will keep you in mother's ruin for a week if I don't come back smelling of roses. That's how confident I am. All right now.
What do you think?
I suppose he could be right. If Sarah Ridley fancies a rogue with a boyish grin, which isn't unheard of.
As you know from personal experience.
Don't be nasty, Betty. Anyway, I couldn't care less whether he gets his wrists slapped or his shins kicked. It's got nought to do with us, love. We're just a pit ponies here.
Come in.
Morning.
Morning, Mr. Walker. Do sit down.
Thank you. You wanted to see me?
Yes. Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
How's your mother keeping?
Oh, she's not so bad.
Good. What happened?
Pardon?
Your visit from the police after hours.
Well, just unlucky.
You mean you make a practice of it? Serving after hours?
No, not really. No more than anybody else. But up to press, it was just a visit.
Do you know something that we don't?
No. Well, I mean, it's not as if the Rovers has been naughty in the past, is it? We've not got many black marks against our name, have we?
Mrs. Walker hasn't got many black marks against her.
Well, it's the same thing. Anyway, I've got friends at court. Well, at the station. Tony Cunliffe. He's the station sergeant. He's practically one of the family. He lodges with Betty Turpin.
Well, let's hope that your optimism is justified.
Well, I'm not losing any sleep over it. I don't see why you should. Although it'd be beauty's sleep in your case, of course.
Actually, there's something else.
Oh?
Your spirit sales. They're down, aren't they?
Not really, no. People haven't got money for spirits, especially at this time of the year, Christmas.
Where have you been buying yours, Mr. Walker?
Come again?
Where did you buy your spirits for your little bar in Jersey? Buying cut price. Instead of from us, as you're supposed to do. Obliged to do as a tenant.
I'm simply trying to make a living, Miss Ridley.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, and some are obviously doing it a bit better than others. Though it's not very easy, you know, trying to make a living out of a little backstreet pub around there. It's not Silicon Valley, you know, more like Death Valley.
You wanted the license.
Yeah. Perhaps I'm beginning to regret it.
Really? Well, perhaps the feeling's mutual, Mr. Walker. Perhaps we both made a mistake.
Then why don't we both do something about it? Take the pub back. You try running it. Buy me out.
Would you mind waiting outside for a few minutes? I'd like to discuss your idea with somebody else.
How much have you made this morning, Michael?
How much have I lost, you mean? I make a quid, I lose two. It's like walking backwards.
Oh, come off it. You must be rolling in it. Nobody to spend it on either. Just think how much pleasure you get out of keeping me in furs and diamonds.
I would, except for one thing.
What?
You look better in tat.
Pig.
Where is the landlord today?
Charming a bird out of a tree, he hopes.
Well, now, Mr. Walker, I've had a word with George Newton about your your proposition. And like me, he thinks it a very good idea.
To buy me out?
Absolutely. We'll buy the fixtures and fittings as if we were another tenant taking over.
I see.
You've not had second thoughts, have you?
Me? No way. I'll be glad to be out of it. I've had a bellyful.
Good. Well, we'll send our value around as soon as possible. I presume you would prefer it was sooner than later.
Yep.
Good. The end of an era, Mr. Walker.
You could say that.
How long has the family been associated with the Rovers?
More than 40 years. I was born there.
It's a long time.
Too long. Tradition's all very well, but it can smother you at times if you're not careful. Cheers.
Cheers.
Right, come on.
Oh, he's not opened up.
Well, I've not back from the brewery yet.
I mean, Sarah Ridley's going locked in her bedroom.
Oh, you never know.
For God's sake, don't tell Fred if I'm bad with you.
You're not kidding.
Oh, you there?
Grandma, what big eyes you've got.
Been gone long enough, haven't you?
Sarah Ridley invited him to lunch in the boardroom, didn't she?
That's right. Only they were only having smoked salmon and steak, so I turned her down.
Come on, Billy. What happened, love?
I'm leaving.
You are?
I'm leaving here. Going off into the wide blue yonder.
You've been fired, you, haven't you?
No, I'm leaving by mutual agreement. To use the words of the young mistress herself.
Sounds like you've got the boot to me.
She offered to buy me out. I accepted her offer, like a flash.
Billy, you can't leave, lovey. I mean, there's always been a walker in this pub.
Not anymore, Betty. Anyway, there are walkers and walkers. I'm not your genial innkeeper, like my mum and my dad were. Well, not this sort of inn, anyway. Now, something on the Champs-Élysées with 5 stars after its name, and that would be a very different matter.
I don't believe it. I mean, I know he's done 1 or 2 daft things just lately, but I thought he was settling down a bit.
Here we go again.
What do you mean?
He goes, who comes?
Oh, way, I never thought about that, love.
It is very important, Betty, who's putting your harness on. Ask any pit for me.
Well, according to Billy, the brewery's our boss now.
Oh, aye? And who were there?
How do I know?
Exactly.
Billy Walker's leaving? I don't believe it.
True enough.
What will he do for a living?
Well, he managed to get by before, though I must admit his options seem to be running out.
Yeah, fast.
Now, gentlemen, don't be bitchy. That's supposed to be our territory. Isn't that right, Betty?
I don't know what to think.
You're not sorry to see him go, are you, Bet?
Well, if you'd have asked me that this morning, Ken, I'd have said no. I'm not so sure right now.
How can I be doing with all this change, you know? I'm not going to put up with all that messing about. We had that panto when Fred was taken badly.
Do we have any choice, Betty?
Look, why could you be more like his dad?
I'd have even settled for him being like his mother.
Well, it still hasn't sunk in. I mean, it all happens so sudden.
There's no Billy Walker could do that would surprise me anymore.
I know, but I mean, to get rid of everything like that, I mean, lock, stock and barrel, and then to go to Jersey. I mean, of all places. That hasn't exactly been a happy hunting ground for him now, has it?
Do you know any place at all?
I hope there's something left in that pot for the boss, Betty.
Yeah, you could just be lucky, love.
Oh, I am, Betty, I am. I can feel it coursing through me veins.
Tea?
Good fortune, Bet.
Look out, world, here I come, eh?
Got it in one. Well, Jersey, any road.
Oh, look, Billy, I know how you must feel. I mean, I know things haven't been going as well for you as you wanted them to, but don't you think you're being a little bit hasty? I mean, don't you think you ought to have a talk with somebody first?
No, like my mother, you mean?
Well, yes, I do. I mean, she has got a right, hasn't she?
I already have, haven't I?
Have you? What did she say?
I bet she was tickled pink, eh, Billy?
She didn't say very much as it happens.
I'm not surprised. I bet she was speechless with
Well,
shock.
Betty, if you're going to give me all that sub stuff about the Rovers being in the Walker's name for the past 40 years, you can forget it. I've had a bellyful of that from my mother.
You'd hardly be surprised then, can you?
Yes, but she is a little bit more realistic than some people I could mention. I mean, she makes no bones about the fact that she'd like to see the Walker's name over the door for the next 40 years, but she does realise that I've got my own life to lead, and believe it or not, she actually wished me good luck.
So when are you thinking of going?
Just as soon as I've sorted this lot out, and it can't be soon enough for me. Come here.
Excuse me, Mr. Walker. A visitor for you. The gentleman what was here before.
Morning, Mr. Walker.
What? I never expected you so early. Don't you ever sleep?
I understood you did want to be out as soon as possible.
Oh, that's right.
So, the sooner we get the valuations finalised, the better, right?
Right.
Would you like a cup of tea before you get started? They're specially made.
No, thanks. If it's all the same to you, I'd sooner make a start. Yeah. My time's important to me as well.
Right, well, we'll start with the upstairs, shall we?
As you wish.
After you.
So, you didn't manage to get him to change his mind then?
Hey, Hilda. There's more chance of getting struck by lightning.
You can't get out of this place fast enough.
Well, I just hope he finds what he's looking for this time. Because there's one thing for sure. He'll not be able to come running back to this place no more, will he?
Hello.
Everything all right?
Why shouldn't it be?
Well, I was just sort of, wondering.
Wondering what?
Well, if you'd had sort of second thoughts,
It's all right, Betty. Nobody talked me into staying on, or even tried to. As a matter of fact, I simply went to the brewery to finalise certain figures, and that indeed I have done.
So, that's it then, is it? All done up and dusted?
More or less.
So, when are you thinking of going?
Well, give or take half an hour in about 4 hours' time.
Today?
Well, there's nothing left to keep me here, is there?
And that's got naught to do with the brewery. It's your mother's.
Yes, well, she said to get rid of it.
Get rid of it?
Well, she's got nowhere to keep it, has she? She said to get what I could for it. Oh, do you want any of it?
Oh, no, Laura, no. Thanks all the same.
What about you, Bet? Do you want any furniture?
What, my little rabbit touch? There's hardly enough room for me as it is now, the same.
Well, what about the personal bits and bobs?
It's all been taken care of, Betty. I filled up a couple of suitcases and they're up in her room. I'll journey a call for them tomorrow. Right. That's everything. Happy now, or is there anything else you'd like to know?
No, there isn't. You must admit, though, it's all a bit sudden.
Well, you know me, Betty. Here today and gone tomorrow. I've burnt me boats, so what's the point in hanging about, eh?
Well, there was just one teeny weeny little point that nobody seems to have bothered about. Hardly seems worth mentioning, really.
Aye. What's that?
Like, what happens to this place after you've gone? What happens to us two?
Well, you get a new boss, won't you?
Well, I mean, did they say who? I mean, they must have said.
All I know is that Sarah Ridley's got the matter in hand and she's coming round to see you this afternoon. I'm sorry, but you'll just have to sweat it out a little bit longer.
So you still don't know who's coming?
We haven't a clue. Not till we've seen Sarah Ridley. But then again, you don't expect us to, do you? We only work here, don't we?
Hey, Billy, we've not heard from her yet, you know.
She'll be in touch, I promise. Stop worrying.
But I do worry. When you go through that door, it's me and Bet against the rest of the world, isn't it?
You can make it.
Off then.
Yeah, that's right.
I'll still take that Merc off your hands if you like. 500 in ready.
You know what you can do, don't you?
Anyway, good luck, Billy. Place won't be the same without you.
Darling.
Aye, that's true.
You watch it, Lynch.
Same goes to me, Billy. All the best.
Ta-ra, mate. You know, I'm sorry you're not coming with me. We'd have made a great team, me and you. Your brains, my beauty. We'd have been unbeatable.
I've got enough trouble with that lot over the road, thanks very much.
Yeah.
Well, I reckon that's it.
Did you leave the keys, love?
Yes, they're on the table. And our Joni, I've phoned her and she'll be picking up my mum's stuff tomorrow. Right, well, I can't stand here chatting with you lot. I've got better things to do.
All right, good
See you, mates. Ta-ra.
Bye.
Bye-bye, there.
See you, mate. Well, I'll give him 6 months.
If somebody else doesn't first.
He'll either be on his way to his first million or he'll have so many debts round his neck he won't be able to get his chin off the pavement.
Well, I dare say there'll be some folk round here who'll miss him.
I like Fleming earache.
No, I mean it, Bet. Whatever else he is, he's a walker. And there's folk living round here who've never known any other name over that door. And some folk who never thought they would, not in their lifetime.
I can think of one right now and all.
I think we all can.
Look what the wind's blown in.
Not before flaming time either. Miss Ridley, how nice to see you.
Oh, I'm sorry I'm late. I got held up at a board meeting. It just dragged on and on. Well, you know what they're like.
Yes, of course we do. Don't we, Betty, love?
Oh, yes. You just missed Mr. Walker, as a matter of fact.
Oh, it wasn't Mr. Walker I came to see, Mrs. Turpin. It was you two. Well, I'm sure you'd like to know what's happening.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Well, would you like to come through then?
Thanks. Something more permanent sorted out, that'll be the situation. And thanks again. We know that we can rely on you and Miss Lynch to give them your total support.
Off then?
Yes. I've put Mrs. Turpin fully in the picture. Well, she'll fill you in on the details after I've gone. Look, I'm sorry that it's turned out this way, but Mr. Walker really didn't give us much of an alternative, I'm afraid.
I see.
Yes. Well, I really must be off now. If you do have any problems, you know where to reach me. But I'm sure your new manager will be more than capable of handling things.
Sure he will.
Well, good night, Mrs. Turpin.
Night.
Miss Lynch?
Thank you. Come on, then. Let's be having it. Who's the big white chief, eh? Anybody we know, eh?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, we know him all right. How could we forget the chap that gave us both as marching orders and brought a couple of dolly birds in?
Oh, no, Betty. Oh, no, not Gordon Flaming Lewis. Not again.
Got it in one.
Fleeing cold out there.
Look, I told you it'd be cold if you didn't have your breakfast.
I did. Mind you, I only smoked it halfway down. I'm slimming.
Oh, way. Don't it seem strange? The Rovers, you know, without a walker running it. Oh, I felt quite a pang when I saw Billy go through that door for the last time.
Well, if you felt a pang, how do you think his mum felt? I bet she... Hey, what was that?
What?
I thought I heard something.
Don't be so daft. We're the only ones here.
We're not, you know. Oh, blimey, Hildy, you give us the right turn. What are you doing in so soon?
Oh, well, I thought I'd best put in a special effort. You should have seen that room of Billy Walker's. It was a right tip. I couldn't have it looking like that for when Mr. Lewis come.
Hey, Hildy, you're not going to start creeping round this fella, are you?
I shall just do my usual job. And he'll see that whatever else is wrong with this place, it's not the cleaning.
Well, I'll tell you this. You make a big effort for Gordon Lewis, he'll only take advantage.
Oh, I quite like him. Well, I got on very well with him when he was relief manager before. Mind you, I do a proper job.
Hey, so do we and all, Hilda.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm not saying you don't. But Gordon Lewis didn't seem to think so, did he? I mean, let's face it. When he was here before, I was the only member of the staff he didn't want to get shut off.
She's right, you know.
Of course she's right. I don't need no reminding. He hates my guts, Gordon Lewis.
I did hear that the Foundryman's Arms were looking for barmaids.
What about it?
Oh, nothing. Just mentioned it.
Well, I'll tell you something. I couldn't care less what Gordon Lewis likes or what he doesn't like. Or who wants to get shut off, or who he wants to keep. And I definitely shan't be crawling round the fella just to keep my job. I don't like it enough for that.
Bet, stick of the pint in, Hill.
Right, love.
If you ever want a favour doing down the cellar, all you got to do is ask.
What sort of favour did you have in mind, Jack?
Well, now my laddo's left, you know. I mean, if you want a barrel changing, ale testing, out like that, I mean, I'll always do it for you.
Oh, it's lovely of you, Jack, but we've got a relief manager coming in. He'll be doing all that.
Oh. Well, you want the window cleaning? I'll do the insides done for £1.
Oh, it'll be down to the new boss, that. Any expense. Just ask him.
Don't call him a boss, Betty. He's only a temp, isn't he?
You hope.
Hey, up.
Hello, girls. Well, here we are again, eh? I see we've still the same old smiling faces behind the bar.
Landlords come and go, we soldier on.
You know, when they told me I was coming here, I was delighted. Great, I said. Nice pub, nice people.
Well, it's nice to see you here again, Mr. Lewis.
Hilda, isn't it?
That's correct, yes. I'll give the best bedroom a good bottoming. I think you'll find everything's as it should be.
Well, thank you very much, Hilda.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I always say if a job's worth doing, it's worth doing well.
Right, I'll get my gear upstairs, then I'll come and give you girls a hand.
I think he might have improved a bit, don't you? I mean, he was nice enough then.
He's just being devious, that's all. Leopards and blokes like Gordon Lewis change their spots about as often as Fred G used to change his socks.
Sit yourself down, Bet. You'll be ready for a cup of tea.
All right.
Nice to get that door shut, isn't it? Even when the whole madhouse has to start again in a couple of hours.
Wow.
Oh, nice homely little pub, this. When I walked in this dinner, I felt that right away.
All right.
Which is, I think I should say this, a tribute to the bar staff. As they set the tone in a pub. There's no disputing that.
Did Newton Ridley say how long you'd be here?
They didn't. As and when the need arises, they point me or somebody like me in the direction of the task and say, go.
It's hard to say how long you'll be stopping then. I suppose it depends on who the brewery are putting in.
Grand little pub, this, for the right man, you know. Billy Walker was a fool to himself. He started off with a fund of goodwill, you know, from Sarah Ridley, and blew it all away in a few months.
Well, I warned him several times. I mean, for his own sake.
Aye. So many a man would give his right arm for a pub like this.
Well, I'd best make a start on them dirty glasses. We'll need them again for opening time.
No, you're all right, Bet. I'll do them. You get off. Have a break before the evening.
Oh. Right, I will. See you later.
Okay, lovely.
Heart of gold, that one. Underneath. Not easy to tell at first. Have some more tea, Betty.
Yeah, go on then.
You know, I must say this, Betty, those sandwiches you make, they're excellent. Oh. No wonder the lunchtime trade's so good. And that soup of yours is marvellous. Especially on a day like this.
Yeah.
Hello. Oh, hello.
Hiya.
Well, there's a good competition in that one. You have to identify famous people just by the noses, like. There's a holiday for two in Acapulco if you win.
Nose, is that?
Yeah. I've had a go myself. Well, you never know your luck, do you?
No, I shan't bother. I mean, even if I won, who would I take to Acapulco?
Well, I thought you were going out with that policeman, Sergeant Cunliffe, is it?
Oh, did you?
Yes, well, I've seen you together. Oh, I can't just think when. But, well, perhaps it was a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it must have been, love.
Aren't you going out with him anymore, then?
Avis, have you really not heard? I mean, there must have been plenty of gossip.
Look, I don't pay any attention to gossip, Bet. And if I had heard, I wouldn't be asking, would I? Just forget I ever spoke.
Don't go getting all offended. I just thought you might have heard something, or Rita might have said something.
I do know that Rita's refused to go out with him, and he's asked her more than once.
Yes, well, if she were to go out with him, she wouldn't be breaking anything up, because it's already broken up. And it won't be getting mended either.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes. You see, Maeve, with men, it's a bit like these competitions. You've got no chance of winning.
Somebody somewhere must win, surely.
It's that faint glimmer of hope that keeps making us go in for the competitions. See you, love.
Got you there, will you?
You enjoy your scotch, I notice. If you've a fancy for a particular label, just say the word. I dare say we could get it.
Well, there's no such thing as a bad scotch, but I'll bear that in mind, thanks.
Well, we're here to please.
Good.
Well, you must admit it, lovey. It's been very pleasant all day.
Oh, for him, yeah.
But I mean, when you think how he used to be, you know, always giving his orders, very rude, I think he's been very nice.
Well, I wouldn't trust him.
No?
Would you trust him, Mike?
Who, Milado? About as far as I could throw him. He's just behaving himself till he gets his name over the door.
They'd never give him the licence for this place, not permanent.
Well, he thinks they will.
Take no notice.
Oh, I don't know, Betty, you could be right.
There's no point in us worrying. There's nothing we can do about it, lovey.
Well, there could be.
Eh?
I mean, for instance, you could get yourself down to Newton and Ridley and put your application in.
Me? For the licence?
Well, why not? You've been here long enough, you know the job backwards. I think you'd make a terrific landlady, and I bet Newton and Ridley would think so and all.
If I was to apply for this tenancy, it would be a matter of how to make my approach.
Well, right to the brewery.
Yeah.
Or better still, get on the phone, fix up an interview. Take Sarah Ridley one of your sponge cakes.
I was wondering if the right thing would be to have a little word with Mr. Lewis, you know, in the first place.
Are you kidding? He's a rival. He'd just string you along.
Oh, I don't know. He's been very straight with us since he took over.
Elizabeth, my child. He's just being crafty, for Pete's sake. A bit of the old flannel. Get the staff on his side, then when it's all sewn up, on with the jackboots, out with the whip.
Oh, it wouldn't be too bad.
They said that about Captain Bligh. Hey up.
Sorry I wasn't here for opening time, ladies. Coping, I hope. Not straining yourselves.
Oh, it's in panic stations. The moment we realised that you weren't here to hold our hands, well, we just felt a bit.
Oh, dear, dear, I didn't know you were such nervous types. No, it happened I had a call from old George, you know, Mr. Newton.
Oh, I have a good did you have a good meeting?
More like a very productive discussion over the future of this establishment.
Oh, was Sarah Ridley in on this, then?
Oh, no. Just me and George.
Oh.
What you might call two professionals. Old hands who know the licensing business backwards.
Dog radio driving.
Only I thought it was Sarah that handled this tenancy.
And she's not too fond of old hands, as I've heard. Especially when they've got hair on the back of them.
If that's supposed to mean that she approaches everything from the feminist angle, I'd say you were talking rubbish.
Ah, yeah, but there has been a lady tenant here, you know, for some years now.
Oh, admitted. But as old George says, you have to be realistic. I mean, where do you find a bird with the right qualifications?
Just stand at that door and whistle.
Oh, and some bird's going to pop up, is she? With a brass to put down, and with a know-how. You ever seen a bird bounce a drunk?
I've bounced a few.
And it shows, darling.
Okay, now steady on. Don't start chucking things about. You're allowed one swear word.
Just the one?
As long as it's decent.
Help. Gordon, there's a wreck wants a word. Gordon, we're out now. Getting those redundancy papers ready, I reckon. Have a fag, Miss Lynch, while we discuss your future.
Gordon Lewis here. Put me through to Miss Ridley. Oh, hello, Miss Ridley. Yes, Gordon Lewis here. George Newton tells me that you're handling the applications for the Rovers Return. Yeah. Well, the thing is, I'm interested in the position, but I've heard it suggested that you might be looking for a lady tenant. Oh, well, I never thought you'd be anything else but open-minded, Miss Ridley. I'm very sorry if I'm keeping you from your lunch. Yes, sure. Of course I'll submit my application for processing. Yes, sure. Bye.
I mean, he doesn't get all that much time, you see, doesn't Tony? I do most of his shopping.
I just think it's a pity he doesn't pop round, you know, instead of phoning, because it did seem very suitable, and I think the time is sort of right.
Yes, well, Lee said about that the best. I mean, it's a very thorny topic in this neck of the woods. See what I mean?
Yes, I didn't mean to embarrass you. I mean, if you could just hint, though, that a visit might pay dividends.
Can I quote you?
Oh, my goodness, I mean, I don't know about that. I mean, I don't want it to get out.
Oi, my mate, don't rush off after closing, I've got news.
Oh, right. Excuse me, Mabel.
Believe you me, kid, you've got every chance of landing this tenancy.
I don't know.
Are you not listening to me? Do I have to bang it home with a sledgehammer?
Hey, I'm not deaf, you know. And I'm not daft.
Granted. So what's your problem, then?
Oh, look, I can't see me presiding over a pub.
So, you're going to do now and send out and let Lewis trample all over us?
Yeah, he's got it sewn up wherever I do.
He's got nought sewn up bar his wallet. I mean, I heard him on the blower. All that stuff about him and George Newton, it's a load of bluff, innit?
Yeah, perhaps it is, but... Oh, I shan't impress Sarah Ridley.
Why not? Why do you underrate yourself?
Well, because she'll be expecting somebody more dedicated.
Well, I'll bet you one thing. Whatever she says, when it comes to public relations, she'll be looking for a woman.
Yeah, a career woman, perhaps.
Listen, you don't have to be Mrs. Thatcher. Just able to know the ropes and lay your hands on the brass.
Ah, now that's another thing. I'll not deny that I've got a little bit tucked away, but... Well, I've not got that much that I want to chuck it about, lovey.
I wish I were a penny behind you.
It's not just the money. I just don't feel that I'm suited.
It's right up your street.
Yeah, I know, but a few hours a day, it's quite different, you know, to a full-time job.
Well, it'll be Lewis then. Thank you and good night.
Oh, it needn't necessarily be him, lovey.
If you're ducking out, who's going to stop him?
Well, I mean, there could be an applicant as long as you're home.
We'll get him. I can feel it in my water. It'll be murder. You'll not last 10 minutes, I'll not last 5.
Look, he's no more the devil than I'm the deep blue seal. And once he gets settled in...
Betty, are you deserting me in my hour of need? Can you not see that this is a Sister Anna job and the banner needs waving and your favourite?
Look, quite honestly, lovey, I don't think I could cope. I mean, I'm very set in my ways and, well, running a pub, you know, to take over my life. I'd have to sell my little house and get rid of my lodger.
Oh, it's all right. You can mention your lodger. She ain't going to shop.
Oh, well, you can see how impossible it is, can't you, love?
Go, Betty, before I slap your legs.
Try. See you tomorrow, Duck.
Now, don't quote me. I mean, that's straight up. He said I want a younger and livelier staff. I just pass it on. No comment.
Well, listen, I wish you'd tell Betty. Because if I try and spell it out for her, she just thinks I'm prejudiced.
Well, it's easy for her, isn't it? It's not her livelihood, is it?
You know, she'd make a cracking landlady. She just wants convincing. Mike, maybe if you had a word with her.
No, I'm not so sure about Betty. I do know one bird, though, that'd be bang on. You know her, too. I'm surprised you haven't thought of her.
I can't be novice of mind.
A lady called Lynch. Bet Lynch. If she applied for that job, she'd walk it. You think about it.
How's my happy band of pilgrims? Ready for the off?
Chapping at the bit.
Everything highly polished, Mr. Lewis.
That's the way I like it, Hilda. Now things with you. You all right?
Oh, yes, thank you. What about you? Have the brewery said out about you taking over permanent?
Oh, not yet, Hilda, but they will. There's no competition. It's a one-horse race.
And even you can win them sort.
Too true, Bet. Even me. Let me know when you're opening.
You're asking for it, you are.
Oh, come on, Betty. How long can you see me lasting if he takes over?
He's not all that bad. He's always very concerned about me.
Yeah, we know he is, Hilda, but...
Hey, you know what Mike Baldwin said to me last night? He said I ought to put in for tenancy.
You? Hey,
What a good idea.
she's a barmaid.
What's that got to do with it?
No, Hilda's right. I am a barmaid. Mind you, I'm a good one.
Yes, but listen, if you were to put your mind to it...
It's
love,
not just me mind, Betty, love. They want 5,000 quid and all.
Well, that's 5,000 either. It's nothing if you say it that. No, you could raise that if you tried, lovey.
Are you offering?
Oh, I haven't got that kind of money. But I'll tell you something, if I did have, you could have it. I mean, you know the ropes. You've got the personality. I think you'd be a marvellous investment, love.
Oh, Betty, I never knew you cared.
Oh.
What do you think, then? Am I off my trolley?
Well, you Eckers, like, you make a blooming sight better tenant than Billy Walker, all this fella here. What do you say, Mike?
I've already told her.
Yeah, so don't forget, anything you need, anything at all, just ask.
Well, there is, as a matter of fact, Al. Can you lend us 5,000 quid?
No, I wasn't thinking of that. I mean, I was thinking more in terms of a reference, you know. I'd be very happy to write you one of those.
And me. And I don't think my recommendations would do any good.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Where's over, is it?
Morning, Hilda. You sound on song, as they say.
Oh, yeah, well, I'm not too bad, all things considered.
The Ayatollah shown his face yet?
If you mean Mr. Lewis, he's having a lie-in, I think.
Oh, lovely. I think I'll go and wake him. Give us a lendy a bucket.
Matter of fact, I had thought of giving him a shout. Because there's a letter come for him. And if you ask me, it's an important one.
I know. Don't tell me. He's finally passed his 11 plus.
Oh, I don't know about that, but I do know a letter from Newton and Ridley when I see one.
Newton and Ridley, eh? Don't fancy a bit of crafty work with a kettle, eh?
Oh, the very idea. And he wrote it's all stuck up with that tape stuff.
Why, it's a doddle, isn't it? You just take it off and then do it up with a fresh bit.
Tampering with Her Majesty's mails is a very serious offence.
I tampered with one once in a Busby on Horse Card Parade.
Oh, you want shooting, you do.
Any road. It's not unusual, is it? A letter from Newton and Ridley? I mean, it is their pub.
You mark my words, it'll be about the tenancy. He's landed it. This letter will be confirmative in writing.
Is that?
Mike, are you on the wing or are you sticking around, like?
Well, to tell you the truth, darling, with the cabaret and everything, I was thinking of moving me desk in.
It's just that I'd like a private word.
Be my guest.
You weren't kidding, were you, when you said I ought to be running this loony bin?
I was never more serious.
Well, the thing is, the financial angle's tying me on.
So why don't you put in for manager?
Well, what makes you say that?
Wouldn't entail any cash, would it?
Well, Newton and Ridley want a tenant, which means you've got to put the brass down.
So you want a loan, do you?
Well, if it means the final sacrifice, let's face it, I made that a long while ago.
Well, I'll tell you what, kid, I'm due for a natter with the accountant, and I'll have a word, see what we can come up with.
You are a Christian and a gentleman. Now, who shall I give that exploding cigar to? Yes, Hilda.
Oh, light out if you don't mind.
Okie doke.
Well, this time next week we'll know what Santa's fetched us. What do you reckon he's fetching you, Mr. Baldwin?
I wouldn't know how to see you.
Go on.
I suppose you've seen my paper, haven't you?
You what?
The trade thing. The licensing advertiser. Seems to have walked.
Oh, if you mean that thing I call the Booze Artist Gazette.
That's what I'm on about, Mrs. Ogden.
Yeah, well, I picked it up in the gents the other day.
And what, may I ask, were you doing prowling about in the gents?
Ignore that, love. We know what you were doing.
No, I seem to remember it. I thought at the time, Mr. Lewis, it was a bit strange because, you see, it's not usually chucked out so soon. But there it was, lying on the floor, all crumpled up.
So where is it now, Mrs. Ogden?
I shoved it in the bin, didn't I?
I think he does the crossword. He can just about manage it. Every clue concerns ale, mind you. Some of them can be right swines. 3 down, 4 letters, liquid refreshment, first letter B.
Brandy.
Betty gone.
Thought you were having your afternoon nap.
Where is it, Bet?
Was what?
To be exact, page 7.
It normally comes after page 6, doesn't it?
You're dead right. But as you can see, what we have here, after page 6, is page 9. 7 and 8 have gone. In other words, a whole page seems to be missing.
Did you manage to work that out all on your own, or have you got a computer or something?
Oh, come on, love, skip the cracks. You might as well face it. You've been rumbled.
No kidding.
You mutilated this paper, and I don't have to be Sherlock Holmes to guess why.
Gordon, you don't mind me asking, but are you not sleeping well?
I'll say one thing for you, Bet. You make one hell of a poker player.
Well, I may appear to be calm and in full control, but in fact, I'm groping for a clue as to what you're on about.
Oh, do me a favour. It's going to take more than leg pulls and kidology to get this pub over my head.
Well, I suppose by that, you mean you've got the brass and I haven't.
Brass doesn't come into it.
Nobody gets a tenancy without putting the brass down.
Yeah, true enough.
Tell me, Gordon, this bee in your bonnet, you don't think it could be some sort of mental affliction?
I have reason to believe that there was an advert in this paper that you did not want me to see.
Eh?
I had a letter this morning from Newton and Ridley.
Ah, my sniffer dog told me.
They've changed their minds, if you like. They don't want a tenant. As of now, they're advertising in the trade press for a manager.
Come on, then.
Believe me, that's gent. I checked the paper and found the vital page missing. So I thought, hello. That's being a bit clever-like.
What the hell are they playing at?
No, that's their business. You've just got to face the fact that now it's a whole new ball game. Now it's all down to experience, qualifications, and professionalism. Get it? Got it? Good.
Hell's teeth.